2021. Proof of notice, Director Killam.
Charlie, get Hello?
Yeah.
My microphone's
Mine's on. Mine's on.
Mine's on.
We're on.
I'm on.
Here, mine went on. See if yours went.
Yeah, I'm on.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yes, Mr. President. The meeting was posted in accordance with the Florida statutes.
Thank you. Moving right on to new business. Item 3.1, ratify Guard 1 amended contract. Director Raymer.
Mr. President, I move to have the board ratify the service agreement with Guard 1 for security through April 26, 22 as attached. The new billing rate is $22.30 an hour, and it's about a 30% increase.
You got that, June? Roxy seconded. Rationale.
Rationale, where it was difficult for Guard 1 to maintain personnel at the wage rates established in the agreement signed October 22nd, 21. We have agreed to these increases as per attached.
Any discussion?
Yeah, Dave, how long is this amended contract going to run?
We are currently looking for other suppliers for security. We only ran it for 6 months through April 26th.
Okay, so at that time we either have to sign a new contract or we possibly have someone else doing it.
True.
Okay, thank you.
Right, so everybody knows this. When they came to us and said they couldn't service our park anymore at the current rate, we were kind of at our feet to the fire and had to have guard service, and so we amended the contract to give them what they needed to be able to have people at the gate, but we reduced that length of time to 6 months so that we can find somebody else. We have one very viable company that we're looking into now, so we're doing the best we can to minimize this increase. Any other discussion? If not, we'll vote on the motion, which is to move that the board ratify the service agreement with Guard 1 for security through April 26th. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. 3.2, ratify Alexander's contract amendment. Roxy Marsh.
Mr. President, I move to amend the contract with Alexander's Property Maintenance to an increase of 8% effective January 1, 2020, and going forward there will be a 5% increase each year thereafter.
Do we have a second?
Excuse me, Roxy, you said 2020. I'm assuming
2022, thank you.
I'll second.
Ms. Darrell Burns, second.
Yes, rationale. Our landscape company needs this increase in order for their employees' retention, including their hourly rates and benefits, as well as upgraded equipment that they bought especially for Fairway Village. This contract may be canceled at any time, usually 60 to 90 days by either party. The 2022 budget approved a 5% increase already, so this is 3% less than that 8% that will go into effect then. The total impact of the extra 3% is approximately $6,000. The total for grass cutting for 2022 is approximately $270,000, which has always been one of our highest expenses.
And again, we had a meeting with these people. We negotiated with them. They wanted more. And what's happened in Florida, there's so much of a boom in Florida, there's so much construction, there's so many new jobs, there's so many people that can now do better, that can get a better job, that these low-paying jobs, and I understand and I sympathize with them. Just an aside, what they've always done is they've signed up with the government to get legal aliens coming in from Mexico, wherever, and when you sign up for that, you're kind of in a lottery system, and if your name gets drawn, then you get so many people. Well, they lost the lottery this year, and so they don't have many employees, and to get new employees, they're having to pay them a lot of money. We worked hard with them. We had a meeting with the owner of the company, and we just didn't see any way around it. And again, they have that option of saying, you know, I've got more parks than I can do with the people that I have here. Don't push me in a corner. I just might back out. So we did everything we can, and I don't know what else we could have done. It's an increase, and as Roxy said, it's 8% instead of 5%. There's a couple more years where it's a 5-year contract where there's a little more too. I calculated it out, and it's like an 8.6% increase over the whole contract to do what they're saying now. So that's not as bad when you spread it out over the whole contract. At any rate, any other discussion? Barring any discussion, we'll move on to voting. All in favor of the amendment to contract for Alexander's property maintenance to an increase of 8% and going forward of 5% per year, signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. .3, ratify clubhouse monitoring system with the mayor company, Director Burns.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to ratify the payment of $80.25 a month to Mary Company for the clubhouse fire alarm system and lease Starlink dialer, labor and installation included, money to come from operations.
Second? Second?
I'll second it.
We got Darrell Swain. Rationale.
Rationale. Mary Company will install the alarm system and maintain 24/7 monitoring and repair of the system as required for vandalism, fire, and theft into the clubhouse. Approval of this motion is recommended.
Any discussion on the motion? Barring any discussion, we will vote. All in favor of ratifying the payment of $80.25 a month to Mary Company for the clubhouse fire alarm system, signify by saying aye.
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 I do have a quick question, though. Is that comparable to what we've paid in the past? Do you know, Darrell?
I really don't know.
Does anybody know? Okay. Thank you.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. .4, approve clubhouse cleaning contract, Director Raymer.
Mr. President, I move to have the board approve the attached contract for Jan King for the janitorial services for the clubhouse and main office starting in January and continuing throughout the year 2022.
A second. Second. Lydia? Rationale.
Whereas it was determined we should maintain and clean the new clubhouse with professional workers, we have reviewed the services provided by Janie King and are confident they will ensure exceptional cleaning and sanitation of our clubhouse and office. The contract is for 3 services per week during the busy season, 2 services per week during the summer season, and 1 service per week for the office building to sanitize and clean all desks and that type of thing.
Any discussion?
Yeah, Dave, the charges you show here for, do we pay separate charges for the 3 times a week, the 2 times a week, and 1 time a week? To total those 2 totals together for a month, or what? How's that working?
No, 3 times a week is $1,900.
And that's all
That's all we
it?
pay.
Okay,
2 times a week is $1,100.
right, okay.
Any further discussion?
I'll just shout. Nancy Whitford, lot 72. David, does that amount for a year? What does that amount for the year that's in the $13,000 that you budgeted?
We budgeted more than that. It was based on $1,900 a month.
What did you budget?
Whatever, 2,000 times 24,000 a year, maybe, something like that.
You got to stand close to the mic.
Is it within the budget that we just approved?
Exactly what the budget was.
I'm sorry.
He said yes.
Within what we just budget, correct?
You've got to get really close to the microphone.
Well, I don't know.
So the question she asked, was it within budget, and the answer was yes.
Thank you.
Any further discussion?
One other thing, Mr. President, we had contacted 4 different cleaning companies. We had 2 out of the 4 come and visit with us. The only one that gave us a quote was Jenny King. So we did our due diligence, but nobody would quote on it. Thank you.
David, I used them in a couple of the other companies where I was employed, and they did a good job for us.
I was impressed.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? With no further discussion, we'll vote on the motion to approve the contract with Jan King for janitorial service for the clubhouse and main office. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. 3.5, ratify purchase of bingo system. Director Swain.
Mr. President, I move the board approve the purchase of a computer system for $3,076.65 to run the bingo in the new clubhouse. Funds to come from reserve.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Darrell Burns, second. Rationale.
There will be no room for the old flashboard in the new clubhouse. The new computer system will project all the numbers called, patterns, last number called, next number to be called, card caller, and verify the winning card. This will be projected on all our new screens, and we will still use our present ball blower, which is required by Florida.
Okay, discussion, and just on something you mentioned before to me. What we didn't realize was there's some Florida statutes or whatever about this, and this complies with that?
Florida requires you to use a ball blower. I don't know where they must think that you can rig it if you got just the computer by itself, but you have to still use the ball blower to generate your numbers. Yeah.
Any further discussion? Barring any further discussion, we'll vote the motion to approve the purchase of a computer system for $3,076.65 to run bingo in the new clubhouse. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. 3.6, approve clubhouse opening celebration chairman. Director Ford.
Mr. President, I move to appoint Sherry Moore to be chairperson of a clubhouse dedication committee. The committee will plan, organize, and oversee the implementation of a dedication ceremony for our new clubhouse. The committee will operate with a budget of $10,000.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Roxy seconded. Rationale.
After many years in reviewing the needs of a clubhouse for Fairway Village, we are seeing the results of our efforts with the completion of a new clubhouse. It would be appropriate to acknowledge this event with a celebration. Sherry Moore, as chairman of FSC, would be an excellent person to head this committee.
Any discussion? Barring any discussion, we'll vote on the motion to appoint Sherry Moore to be the chairperson of the Clubhouse Dedication Committee with a budget of $10,000. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. 3.7, approve new member for the AV Committee, Director Foisey.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Directors approve the appointment of Ronald Cirincione to work on the AV Committee.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Gerald Burns. Rationale.
The AV Committee is in need of volunteers, especially those who are year-round residents, to assist with the work of the committee, such as filming board meetings and setting up lighting and sound for various activities. Ron would like to get more involved in the community and to participate in more village activities, including assisting the AV Committee in the areas of lighting and other audiovisual services. Approval of this motion is recommended.
Is Mr. Cirincione here?
Yes.
Would you please stand up? Thank you. Without any further discussion, we'll vote on the motion to accept Ronald Cirincione on the AV Committee. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passed unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Cirincione. 3.8, amend ARC 5.2 sprinkler placement, Director Weaver.
I move that Article 5.2 of the Architectural Review Committee Policy and Procedures be amended to read as follows. On the written copy that I have and that I mailed out, we've got some italicization here. I'll read it as it will go. Landscaping, number 5.2, landscaping, irrigation systems. B, a lawn system and sprinklers may be installed in the common area, in the common, let's go back and get these crossouts there. A lawn irrigation system, sprinklers, may be installed in the setback areas of the home. Homeowners who install a sprinkler system on the sides and back of the home must locate the sprinkler heads as close to the house as possible. Sprinkler heads in the front of the home must be located as close to the planter box, sidewalk, and driveway as possible. Sprinkler heads may be placed in the grassy area between the sidewalk, may not be placed between the sidewalk and the grass and the Miami curb. Homeowners are responsible for all damage to the sprinkler system. A drawing showing the location of sprinkler heads must be submitted with the ARC modification request.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Director Burns. Rationale.
Okay, this lays out the allowed locations for sprinkler heads when installing a lawn irrigation system and defines responsibility for broken heads. Systems approved and installed prior to December 1st, 2021 shall be grandfathered. Approval of this motion is recommended.
Any discussion on the motion?
So if lawn care service or someone like that damages the system, we're still responsible?
Charlie, did you hear that?
Yes, yeah, and if the mowers you said,
Yeah.
Yes, they're responsible.
yes, you would be responsible for it. That's why we're kind of recommending you keep them as close to the planter and as close to the house as possible.
Spectrum cut our lines. It wasn't the lawn mowing. It was Spectrum that put the lines in. They cut our irrigation system.
Right, a whole different issue.
Yeah.
Any discussion on this motion?
How's that a different issue with the underground sprinklers?
You need to come to the microphone. Give your name and lot number.
John Miller, Lot 88. Why would that be a different issue when it concerns your underground sprinkling? It was damaged by an outside contractor.
Well, the lawn care people are doing their job and mowing where they should. It would be if your sprinkler system is up when it should be down and they damage it, they're still just doing their job. Spectrum, and it's actually their subcontractors, are not supposed to be damaging anything here in Fairway Village when they put things in, and so they certainly would be responsible for it.
Okay, because they damaged ours.
Right, and all you have to do is go to the office and report that, and
I did that today,
Okay.
and I was told that there was nothing they could do, that I had to call Spectrum myself.
let me ask Anthony if you were involved in that. Call tomorrow and ask to speak to Anthony.
To who?
To Anthony, the manager.
Anthony?
The manager.
The good-looking guy.
I'll talk to you after the meeting.
All right.
Any other discussion? We'll vote on the motion to amend Article 5.2 of the ARC Committee. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. And that is the end of the items, but we will have one statement here from our manager / assistant manager, Anthony. That's Anthony. And Dennis. Go ahead, Anthony.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I just want to update everybody. I sent out an email today. There's a couple of items on it, but the primary item is that the office is going to be closed, as well as the golf shack at noon this Friday. So please be aware of that. If anybody needs anything done prior to that, please come to the office. I'm going to hand over everything to Dennis right now.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to update the board on where we're at with our home inspection revised process and some status of a few things. I sent you guys an email earlier today. I want to update that. We issued a total of 30 final notice finding letters. So far, 13 of those have been resolved. We will start doing fines this week. We will also start doing, we changed the inspection process. Instead of doing it for a couple of days a month, we're going to try a new system where we do it daily. That will manage the load on the maintenance staff as well as the office staff, assuming we get about the same percentage of violations we've gotten in the past, which I hope is not the case. But this will even it out a little more. So starting December 6th, next Monday, is when that new inspection process will start, and we're going to try to do it about 50 homes a day, every day of the week.
Thank you. Steve, if you're ready, before we adjourn, I think Steve has an update for us on the clubhouse. Could you do that now, Steve?
Okay, thank you. We had a construction meeting today to review the project with the contractors. Everything is moving along well, except, there's always an except. The last 5% of a project is usually tough to get taken care of. We have an issue in the kitchen. There was a piece of equipment that was dropped, and therefore There's coming out Friday to look to see if it can be corrected. Hopefully it can be. If we have to replace it, there's an 8-week delivery. Hopefully we can work around that. And it's important because that piece has to be set before they can measure the countertops and all that, so it kind of grows. The other issue we have is, which should be taken care of fairly quickly, is the railing for the patio. It's still not here, scheduled to be here on the 22nd. The city is starting to do some inspections which are required. They have to approve the mechanical, the electrical, and a number of things before they will issue a certificate of occupancy. We're in that process. We're doing punch lists on the building, so I'd say the building's probably 95% complete, but it's that last 5%. Furniture is scheduled to be moved in, some of it this month. The lounge furniture probably will not be shipped until, or arrive here until January, around the middle of January. We are starting the process of moving in. We're going to start the 5th, I think is Bob, we're going to start moving, emptying the temporary golf shack, bringing all that stuff up here to the shuffleboard court so that we can purge what we have, because there's a lot of stuff we will not need to put into the new building. Once the building is cleaned and punch list done, the contractor will allow us to move our stuff into the building, but we cannot hold any activities until the entire building is done, approved by the city, and the city issues us a certificate of occupancy. Again, Bob, as in the maintenance, they've worked on a schedule to move stuff in, like the billiard table is going to be moved in on the 13th, fitness equipment on the 13th, and some of that stuff will be set up if the building, all the punch list items and everything are done, and those are in good shape. Working with the contractor, we have set up a tentative, and I'll emphasize tentative, date of starting activities in the building on the 10th of January. And what we would like to do, and what we're scheduling and discussing with Sherry, we would like to have a celebration, and we'll have a celebration on the 9th of January prior to the building opening up for activities. Again, at this time, it is still tentative, and the contractors are working hard. They're working weekends and all trying to get the building done for us. Thank you.
Steve, just one thing. I'm assuming that when we mentioned that the temporary golf shack is going to be emptied out, I'm assuming that that's going to be just the storage equipment, I'm hoping you can hear me.
Yeah. Yes.
That the golf starters equipment will stay there, and we will still be using that until a later date. That we're still going to be using the temporary golf shack as a starting hole, right?
Yeah, I think that's something that once we get stuff moved out, not only of the temporary golf shack, but of the golf shack here, because we stored a lot of audio-visual equipment in this building. And that has to be moved out and moved to the new building. So I think once we get the clubhouse materials out of those facilities, then Bill can look at moving the starters back to this clubhouse. But there's no date set for that right now.
And something else that I may not have heard right. I thought you said we couldn't start activities in the clubhouse till January 10th, but the celebration's going to be on the 9th.
That's correct.
Well, we're not allowed. Are we going to do it in the clubhouse? I thought we couldn't get in the clubhouse till the 10th.
No, we are, once the clubhouse opens on the 10th, we will have the certificate of occupancy prior to that, but just prior to that. So there's nothing that would prevent us from having our celebration. And the celebration, and this is really up to Sherry. Sherry's going to be, and again, the building committee has no input other than Sherry. on the celebration. I think it's, as FSC, she's the appropriate person to handle what we want to do. We're looking, I know in tentative talks with Sherry, we're looking at hiring caterers, because I think it's something that the residents need to enjoy and not be, they should just participate in enjoying the space. And so there's not a problem with us having a celebration on the 9th and going into the building on the 9th.
Thank you, and since you brought it up, one other thing. People kind of thought, since we did very limited FSC activity in the last year and a half, that Sherry Moore hasn't had much to do, and I can tell you now she's been really, really busy, and I want to thank her for all she's done through all this time. I appreciate it, Sherry. Did you have something, Roxy? We're going to do discussion right after. That right after. I'm going to entertain a motion for adjournment. Lydia?
I'll second it.
Second, Darrell Swain. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We're adjourned. Now we're going to have a discussion with the shareholders. I'm just going to bring up two quick subjects first. We, at the last shareholders meeting, we voted on amending the length of time that we have to put out our financials at the end of the year from 60 days to 90 days. We didn't have enough votes at that time to carry that. The voting stays open for 90 days, and I want you to know now we have enough, so that amendment that we were working at that last shareholders meeting actually has passed now. And one other thing that's on the TV, on the website, and everybody should be aware of, starting tomorrow, December 1st, there will only be 2 golf carts per foursome. Now, that's just to say, when you send 3 or 4 golf carts out for a foursome or a threesome, you're just putting a lot of wear and tear on the golf course. And so Bill has decided only 2 per foursome. Now, if you have some situation where that doesn't work, I can just imagine somebody has maybe their oxygen equipment on their cart or whatever, we're going to be pretty lenient about that. Just go to the golf shack and talk to them about it and make sure it's okay. But 2 golf carts per threesome or foursome from now on. And okay, we're open for discussion from the shareholders. Lower the microphone.
Okay. Oh, just a minute now. Okay, I'm Ida Grondin, I'm 149, and I just want to say that I just love the blurbs and the alerts that I get on my iPhone. As I get older, maybe I might not focus it much, so I can always go back and read it 2 or 3 times to finally remember it. So thank you very much.
Yes, very much appreciated. Anthony got the whole chimp mail thing going, and it is well appreciated.
John, I'd like to speak as a citizen. Would you like me to use that microphone? Can I use this one? A resident, not a director.
Pardon?
I want to speak as a resident, not a director.
Oh.
Do you want me to, can I do it from here, or do you want me to go over there? I can do that.
Give us $20, you can stay there.
Lydia Foisey, Lot 451. On Thanksgiving evening, there was an emergency on our street. I think it's called Eagle Drive West. The emergency vehicles had trouble getting to the unit in question, and it was a life-threatening situation. So please, all of you, if you have guests coming, if you could just kind of go out and greet them in the driveway or something and see if you can try to park on one side of the lawn or one side of the road. One of the EMTs came to us after they got the situation settled. There were a group of us, and said, could you please get people to park on one side of the street? They had trouble negotiating. That fire truck is huge, and they were here first. And there really was a a life or death situation. So I ask you to do that.
Let me just say something about that, Lydia. I'm not sure where I've seen it in our document somewhere, that you have to have 10 feet area for vehicles to get through. If you're only leaving 10 feet, it's not enough. That really makes it difficult.
Yeah.
So it may say 10 feet somewhere in our documents, but try to give them a lot more room than that.
Right. The second thing I want to mention is that the election process is going to begin soon, so please start thinking about serving on the board or encouraging someone that you think would be good to serve on the board and to apply. And the last thing I wanted to mention is I'm also known as the ornament lady. I collect ornaments, hopefully from as many residents as possible. It doesn't matter whether you celebrate any holiday or whether you celebrate Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever. What we would like is something to put on the tree that says something about you. And the intent of this was for you to always leave a piece of you behind when you're no longer with us. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other discussion from the shareholders?
Microphone is working now. Can everybody hear me? First of all, I want to talk about the flags on Half Moon Lake, which is our entrance, these flags coming around over here. I want to thank Bob and Joan Dunn and Gary Oates for the millions of times that those flags get taken down for storms, wind, the poles and the flags, and put back up. And these flags represent the states of residents in our community, and they have sponsors. There's only 22 poles out there, and there's 50 states in the United States. The Canadians don't have a flag out there. So I don't know if it's 380 year-round residents or 380 snowbirds, but one or the other, and I can't remember which. So that's about half of our community that's either gone at snowbird season or here year-round. And 3 times this year in the flyer, we were given an inventory of the flags. It was pretty bad this month. For December, for next month, 10 of the 22 poles out there, Bob doesn't have any flags, 0 flags. And 2 more only have 1 flag. So the flags cost $23.54 for one, and we need 2 each year. That's $47.08. So if this community has 10 people that are from Michigan, and 5 of them are sponsoring a flag out there, easily affordable, right? A few dollars for everybody. But you know I'm from Florida because you can see how I'm dressed. And guess what? Florida, I got a call a few years back because there was only 3 people from Florida, and I don't think the other 2 are still around, and if they are, there haven't been any sponsors. So that puts all the burden on me. 1 person from Florida, or maybe it's Hawaii, there's only 1 person here. I don't know who started this tradition here. And I'm sure when it started, there were maybe only 5 poles out there, because there are 6 states here that tend to never have a problem getting sponsors. But what I wanted to say was, if you did all 50 states, it actually only cost $2,354. And if you did 22 poles, it's a lot less. And I think I haven't believed that the system out here has been fair since I've lived here in one regard. I'm 1 person in Florida, and there's at least 10 people from Michigan. And I don't know who started the tradition, but I would like everybody to think about what it has done to the community as more and more people move in here. Maybe you're from Wisconsin. Well, let's pick, what's the one you had a problem with? Minnesota. Minnesota hasn't had a sponsor, and Bob knows, for a long time. And there's probably some Minnesota people here, but maybe they can't afford $47.08. So 3 times we've been asked this year to sponsor flags, and seems like nobody's stepping up, and now it's December. The year is pretty much gone. We can't blame this one on COVID. And maybe the Canadians would like to participate. I know for a fact, because I was on the garden committee here, garden club, whatever you want to call it, and I ran around and took care of all the little plants and flower baskets and all the things that are around the park. And the team that we have now that does that does a great job, but I know for a fact this park pays for those plants and flowers. We aren't asked to sponsor plants and flowers, but we are asked to sponsor the flags. So I would like to ask everybody to think about this, that it's really not fair to the community as a whole if you're just one person from Hawaii or one person from Florida, that perhaps a new tradition should be that we only have 10 poles, and 5 are Canada and 5 are American flags, and every other flag is out there representing all of us. And I know Bob and Joan and Gary do a great job out there, but this tradition isn't coming across the way it used to in this park, because when I moved here in '05, there was no problem getting sponsors, and there's a huge problem now. So I'd like the board to consider 2 things. 1, you sponsor the flags through the park like you do the plants and flowers. Or 2, we change the tradition out there to be American-Canadian versus each individual state, because I think it's a little too crowded for 50 states to be represented. But Bob would know better on that. Thank you.
Nancy, you know that we always have 2 flagpoles here by the clubhouse? There's always the Canada flag and the American flag. We're welcoming them, so. Yes. I just talked to my sister-in-law tonight when I saw that Illinois didn't have any, and she's the one that always collected for Illinois, and I said I would take care of that this year. So I think once people see this, it's going to continue. But if there's not enough sponsors, you're right, there should be no flag for that.
See where that damn dumpster's going to go.
Go ahead, Gary.
Gary, it's 167. Hey, where are they going to be putting that dumpster when they, with this new clubhouse going in? Are we putting a dumpster right out here?
We're still working on that, most likely way in the back corner here. The other one will be, the big one will be up here at the left end of the clubhouse. And the other one will very likely, we haven't made that final decision yet. I don't think Steve can respond to that, but I think we're looking at the very back corner, and we'd have a fence around it to make it less offensive looking.
Is it going to be the same one as we have down here at the, is it going to be like the one at the...
Exactly that one. It will be that small one. The big one will be here in the clubhouse, and the small one will be most likely way in the back with a fence around it.
There's no other place that they can locate that, instead of having it sitting out here in the front with looking like the trash that we have down there. It's going to sit out here.
Well, I think the fence is going to help a lot. We're going to put a decorative fence around it. I think that should help.
Okay.
John, Bob Dunn, 103. I want to just make a couple comments about the flags. It started long time ago, and there was the board gave the couple people that wanted to do this permission to do it, but they didn't want to get involved in it. It was, you take them up, or put them up, and you take them down, and we don't want nothing to do with it. It's not a Fairway Village Board of Directors deal. And that's carried through all this time. So the issue I have is I have, for an example, maybe 15 people from, I don't know, Georgia, and I have one person that wants to sponsor one flag. We can't take a flag down and put one flag up, and then after that flag gets torn or discolored, take it down, and there's no more flags for Georgia. So our rule is, I took this job over from Rod Blythe, who had it for years and years and years. And the rule is, if we can't have 2 flags then we're not going to put your flag up. So if you want to, somebody from Georgia wants to sponsor, we need at least 2 flags. That'll give us 1 year, because we change them every 6 months. But we have, like Nancy said, the sponsorship has really fallen off. But, you know, and I'm not trying to be mean, but the deal is this. If I don't get somebody to sponsor some of them, like we just talked about one of the states for the last, I don't know, last year we haven't had a flag, then there are no more. We'll get another state and put that state up. So, but there's no more room for poles unless we go on the other side of the lake, because we've used all the space we can use here. So, but I do have 2 American flags up out there, so there's 2 poles out there that we could put state flags up in. So, but I agreed to do this, but I didn't agree to go around and collect money and beg people for money to put the flags up. So that's why we haven't been doing it. So,
Bob, appreciate all the effort that you guys go through with that.
Thank you. This is Marge Field, 168. I think we should give our sound people a big hand. They do a great, great job. I appreciate it. Only question I've got, does anybody here know anything about a computer and a printer? If they do, please get a hold of me.
Any other shareholder discussion? Sorry, it's a little cool in here tonight. Appreciate you all. Well, we've got one more. Shar coming in at late.
Shar Franco, 645. What's this Sunday? Woo! Hope you're all coming out.
Yes. I want to thank everybody for coming out. I appreciate you showing up, and we'll see you in December.